Okay, it is Monday, March 31st. We have MLB opening weekend to recap. We have the Final Four is all set. This is the Early Game Podcast. Listen to the show in the mornings on your commute, whenever and wherever, so you can be a part of today's sports conversations. Let's go. Okay, so the Final Four is set, and the big talking point this year is that for the second time ever, it is all 4 1 seeds as the Final Four. So it happened in 2008, and now for the second time, it's happening in 2025. Florida will play Auburn, and Duke will play Houston. When everybody was making their brackets, when all of the pundits were making their brackets, when everybody on TV were making their brackets, when all the personalities were making their brackets, there was so much being made about the fact that everybody's bracket was chalk. They were all, the top seeds being chosen. I said this last week. This is attributable to NIL and the direction it's going in. With the ability to pay players to come play for you, there is no reason, there's no shock in the fact that top teams will be really good and will be able to beat lesser teams. It used to be when a hometown kid had the opportunity to play for his D1 school, the only thing that was stopping him from playing for a smaller program, not just hometown kids that have bigger opportunities to play at a smaller program, there were more reasons to want to play for smaller schools. And therefore, you had better players at smaller programs. But now, there's millions of reasons to want to play for bigger schools and for these bigger schools to add depth to their programs. Again, the question you have to ask yourself is this how you want March Madness to be? Is it more fun for you to have a wild round of 64 and 32? Or is it more fun for you to have better games in the round of 16, in the round of 8, the round of 4, and inevitably the championship game? Just ask yourself that. I personally don't think I lean one way or the other. It's not like these games in the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 these were amazing. This makes it so worth it to me. We'll see what happens in the Final Four and the championship game. But I think right now, I'll prefer the madness that happens in the round of 64 and the round of 32. If what we're seeing now, and again, that should change. We should be seeing better games. The games so far have not been, anything to quite write home about. Okay. Let's move on here because we had Ovechkin. Yes, yesterday Alexander Ovechkin got another goal closer to the all-time record. He is now 5 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record. And it's getting really cool. If you watch these games, the announcers are starting to kind of have it in their voice and mention it as he gets along. That he's getting closer and closer and closer. There's 9 games left. So in this regular season. So the question is, can Ovechkin score 5 in 9? Not impossible. Not easy either. We're talking about a goal every other game. More than every other game. So we'll see. Is Ovi going to be able to break the record this year, or will it be the kind of thing where he's going to do it at the beginning of next season? But it's a really cool way to end this regular season. It's really cool, really fun to have this with the playoff chase in the NHL. And by the way, the playoff chase in the NHL has been very underrated. In the wild card spot, It seems like every day another team is entering and exiting. Right now, the wild cards are Ottawa and Montreal in the East. That's what I'm talking about specifically in the East. The West is a little more solidified. Vancouver's on the outside looking in. They're 6 points behind St. Louis for that second wild card spot. But in the East, the Canadiens and the Rangers both have 77 points. The Canadiens have a game at hand over the Rangers. So the Rangers will have to step things up here if they really want to make it. But there are a bunch of teams fighting for that final wild card spot, whether that's Columbus, whether that's Detroit, whether that's the Islanders. But what's cool about this whole Ovechkin thing is that the Capitals are also really, really good. I mean, they have the second best record in the NHL. So we are talking about Ovechkin possibly chasing history, breaking records, and really having a good shot here to go and win another Stanley Cup for himself. Okay, let's move on to MLB opening weekend. And it was a interesting one, filled with storylines. We'll get to the Yankees bats in a second. First, I want, there was no show Friday. I was sick Friday, so no show Friday. The coolest thing that happened opening day is Tyler O'Neill, who now plays for the Orioles, hit a home run for the 6th straight opening day. So you see in real time all these guys on Twitter, especially all these Barstool guys, they're all like, we got to throw money on Tyler O'Neill to hit another home run, and then he goes and does it. So that's the cool, that was like the cool thing of opening day. The other funny thing I saw from opening day was the White Sox, everybody in their parlays threw in Angels money line or Angels to cover. Minus, I'm sure they were minus 1.5 probably, and the White Sox won that game 8-1. And what I had saw was the only two other teams to win opening day by the score of 8-1 won the World Series. I think there was something like that. But you see a instant jolt success with Will Venable. I think Will Venable is going to be a great manager for them. I think he is going to be the guy to turn the White Sox around. And so instant results for them. The Marlins won 3 walk-off games against the Pirates. So they are 3-1. Surprising to everybody. Juan Soto in the opening series was the only type of offense that the Mets got. Hit a home run in his second game. But the big story for Juan Soto was he was up with the tying runs on base. The Mets were down 3-1 on opening day. Goes up 3-0 in the count and ends up striking out to end the game. And everybody was kind of bagging on him. But Soto has been the only, I obviously watch the Mets very, very closely. Soto has been the only semblance of offense that this team has had. So hopefully they can turn it around and the offense can get going here. But what a fun start for MLB. The Braves got swept in a 4-game series. The Padres swept the Braves in a 4-game series. And let me say this. I was a little hesitant to say that the Padres were going to be a good team this season. If you go back to my preview, I had the Dodgers winning the NL West, and I said the Diamondbacks were going to be frisky, and they are. But man, watching the Padres in this first series, their pitching is excellent. Michael King, Dylan Cease, Nick Pivetta, that is a legit 1-3. Like, really legit. And on top of that, the lineup, Bogarts, Machado, Tatis. I mean, these guys, we are talking about, if they can perform at the level that they are capable of, we are talking about a real threat in the NL West. For real. I think that this team, obviously a very small sample size, but they looked flat out excellent this weekend against the Braves. And then finally, the story that has taken over the baseball world, and that is the New York Yankees their performance this weekend and what led to it. So, the Yankees, beat the Brewers opening day. Devin Williams against his former team almost blew it. Blah, 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 blah. Yankees win opening day. Then, on Saturday, Nestor Cortez for the Brewers is set to pitch against his former team. And he does. And he gets out there and he throws a pitch to Paul Goldschmidt, and Paul Goldschmidt hits a home run. And then he throws another pitch, and the Yankees hit another home run. And then, lo and behold, he throws another pitch, and the Yankees hit another. The first 3 pitches of the game for the Yankees on offense were home runs. Aaron Judge hit 3 home runs. The Yankees beat their record, their franchise record, I think with 9 in a game. And so the offense scored 20 runs on Saturday. And what went viral that day was these torpedo bats. So apparently, in 2022, the Yankees had this coach, Aaron Lenhart, who is a MIT physicist. And he realized, why don't baseball players have more wood in the spot on their bat where they hit the ball most? And so he developed these bats that put the wood where the balls hit. And all of a sudden, in Saturday's game, every Yankee player is using these bats. I don't understand where these bats came from. Where were they in spring? Oh, they're saying that players were using them last season. I don't buy it. Show me the bats from last season. They're only popping up now. Where were these bats in spring? How come all of a sudden they pop up in the second game of the season? Yeah, I'm acting sour. By the way, yes, yesterday they essentially picked up where they left off. They scored another 12 runs yesterday. 38 total in their first 3 games of the season. 38 runs. It's the 3rd most runs ever by a team in the first 3 games of a season. Ever. And I'm sitting here wondering to myself, where do I get these bats and what address can I send them to for the Mets? Why is it that every other team figures out a way to get these advantages, to cheat, and the Mets either aren't getting these advantages or aren't good enough with the advantages? Can the Mets just cheat for once, figure it out, get the advantage for once? The Astros, the Red Sox, the Yankees, they all figure it out. Garbage cans, bowling pin bats. I'm stuck here watching Pete Alonso strike out, pop out, in every situation, in every which way. But Jazz Chisholm has a bat that looks like I just knocked it down with a bowling ball. And he's just lining home runs into the short porch. And so the Yankees figured it out. Every other team can do it. How soon can we get these bats to the Mets? Every other team is allowed to be doing this, apparently. That's what they're saying. So how soon can we get these bats to other teams? And the big conversation was, are these bats going to be outlawed? Now they're saying, according to The Athletic, that they consulted with Major League Baseball, that this was a long process, that it's all okay. Look, let's call it like this. This is not going, if the numbers continue to bloat as dramatically as they did for the Yankees this past weekend, this is not going to continue. It simply won't. It simply can't. Now, the one thing that was the interesting wrinkle to this whole story is John Heyman reported earlier in the offseason that the reason why Giancarlo Stanton got injured in both of his elbows was because of a new bat that they introduced to him. And now we learn that the new bat that Giancarlo Stanton got injured in both of his elbows with was this torpedo bat. And so the question is, will this bat cause injuries? The weight in the bat is distributed differently in the barrel. So will this bat cause more injury? If so, is it worth it? Do they need to figure out a different way to do it? I think that if every player gets their hands on this bat and the numbers bloat as much as they might, and I think that they could, we are looking at a ban on these bats, a new rule probably saying more specifically how the barrel of the bat needs to be. Now, one of the funniest wrinkles of the whole thing is that this guy, Aaron Linhart, is a coach for the Marlins. So he was in the Yankees system when he developed these bats, but he's now a coach for the Marlins. That's the most Yankees thing ever, for them to introduce these bats that were made by a coach for another, who is now a coach for another team. Just crazy to me. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So we'll see. Are pitchers going to be... Now, again, what pitchers need to do now to adjust is how do we get the ball to a different spot on the bat? How do we make it harder for these hitters to get the ball where they like it on the bat and where they're able to hit it on the bat? And so what we're going to see is, until these torpedo bats are outlawed, when a player is using the torpedo bat, there will be more spin rate. There will be a bigger focus on spin rate, spinning the ball, breaking stuff. Not as many fastballs where a player can tee up the ball and hit it where he wants to. We will see what the outcome of these torpedo bats are. Okay, let's move on here to the NBA. We have two stories here that I want to talk about in the NBA, and the big one was yesterday. A big brawl broke out in the Pistons Timberwolves game. This brawl was... Sometimes, I saw a funny comment on Twitter which was like, this wasn't just a classic hold me back kind of brawl in the NBA. This was a full out physical, one going after the other. There were 7 ejections. Dante DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, Ron Holland, Isaiah Stewart, Marcus Susser, JP Bickerstaff, and Wolves assistant coach Pablo Prigioni. I did not realize he's a coach. But essentially, it was kind of nothing. Player goes up at the ball, he gets swiped, and there must have been some sort of smack talk back and forth leading up to this, because this wasn't a egregious act on the play that led to this brawl. But benches cleared. Dante DiVincenzo was right in the middle of... Dante DiVincenzo ended up in the second row of the seats. I think that the NBA could totally benefit from brawls like this. One of the fun things about hockey is the fact that players can go out and brawl and fight and be physical. Show the emotion. This is like the bad boy Pistons that I heard so much about. I'd love to see more fights in the NBA. The Pistons are a tough gritty team. They're not just a tough, gritty team. We're getting close to playoff time here. And they are squarely in a playoff spot. Squarely. I mean, if we're talking about, so I think we don't consider the play-in. We don't consider the play-in to be the playoffs, but they're the 5 seed in the East. And so down the stretch here, they are trying to establish themselves, their identity, as this tough, gritty team that is not just going to sit back, relax. It's good to have good basketball back in Detroit. Again, they're the 5 seed. That's going to be fun to watch Pistons basketball in the playoffs this year. Okay, let's move on here. We have a follow-up from last week's story. Everybody was talking about Stephen A. and LeBron. So Thursday we spoke about it. Friday he goes on First Take. Stephen A. goes on First Take. And this is what he started with. This was the comment he started with. He, LeBron, should be happy with the things that I haven't brought up, Smith said. I never brought up why you were not at Kobe Bryant's memorial service. I never really brought up a discussion about why you did not attend Dwayne Wade's Hall of Fame induction when that man was directly responsible for you capturing the championship for the first time in your career. I never brought none of that. And again, I didn't mention, this is in reference to LeBron and Stephen A. got into a fight courtside at a Lakers game, and they've both used the opportunity to create headlines, to market themselves. The comments what LeBron said was why do you keep talking about Bronny? You're making it personal. And so these comments by Stephen A. were another part of the story where Stephen A. is trying to get clicks, get eyeballs. When you're bringing up Kobe Bryant's funeral, when you're bringing up Dwayne Wade's Hall of Fame Hall of Fame induction, you are so blatantly trying to get clicks. And hold on, I'm fine with that. Go and get clicks. When I do this show, you look for topics that are going to I look to talk about topics which will get people's attention. And when you say Kobe Bryant's memorial, that is manufacturing a viral moment. Because you're saying people are going to write headlines about Kobe Bryant and everybody's going to want to click into that story. Everyone's going to want to click into that video. This was such a clear instance of Stephen A. trying to take the next step in this feud with LeBron and create another viral moment for himself. The problem is, even Stephen A. thought he went too far on that. He tweeted later on, "My apologies and clarification. I misspoke in hour 1 of First Take today when I intimated that LeBron did not attend Kobe Bryant's memorial. I corrected myself in hour 2 when I acknowledged he was indeed in attendance. My mistake, should not have been broached the subject." Again, it was too late at that point, in the sense that the damage was done already for accusing LeBron of not being at Kobe Bryant's memorial service. But Stephen A. did what he wanted to do in a feud with LeBron that was getting kind of stale, because it was simply at that point a back and forth. He brought in a new wrinkle to the mix. LeBron didn't go to Kobe's memorial. Get Kobe Bryant trending. Get LeBron with Stephen A. and Kobe Bryant. Everybody's trending. People can now talk about LeBron. Oh, you didn't go to Kobe Bryant's funeral. This is a marketing play for Stephen A. This is a marketing play for, and I said this last week, LeBron doesn't need any marketing play, nor does Stephen A. Per se. But Stephen A. is more reliant and needs more to be able to stay relevant. And this is just another way for Stephen A. I love Stephen A. Smith. He is what I think of when I think of modern sports talk. He is what I think of. He was Chris Mad Dog Russo and Mike Francesa 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but now you think of Stephen A. Smith. I love the guy. But this is clearly him trying to stay relevant. Okay, that's a show. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, follow on X, follow on Spotify. This is the Early Game Podcast. Have a wonderful day.